Welcome back to Season 1 of Snubs and Dubs, where we're talking the Snubs and Dubs of the 69th Academy Award for Best Picture. I'm your host, Kyle Tobiasson, and as always, I'm joined by my co-host, Jason Miller. Jason, welcome back.
Thank you, Kyle. Welcome back to you too, to your own basement, your own recording devices, your own podcast.
Yep.
Happy to have you have me.
And I'm happy to have me have you.
Beautiful.
Nailed
the circle of life.
Did you watch anything else this week? Like, we haven't had much time between this and last episode, so.
No, but I did watch something this week.
Oh, what did you watch?
A movie that I have been late on.
Yeah.
I missed number one.
Oh.
I watched John Wick for the first time yesterday. Yeah.
Oh, yeah?
I forgot a dog dies in it, and that was really sad.
Yeah.
And I remembered it before the dog died, but after I fell in love with the dog, which is a really heartbreaking time to do that, because then you're like, oh yeah, the dog dies, and then the dog dies, so you kind of get it twice.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a good movie. It
is a good movie.
It's John Wick. It's pretty good. It's a good action
is John Wick.
It's John Wick.
I have tickets to Shang-Chi, but at the time of this recording, I haven't seen it yet, so that'll be talked about next time.
Did you see anything else? I guess I
haven't watched anything else.
I guess not since the last one.
I've been watching Ted Lasso. I finished season 1 of that.
How's The Lasso?
It's a great show.
Oh,
I would
damn.
recommend. Yeah, it's really easy to watch. It's really funny and wholesome in like ways that a lot of comedies aren't anymore. So I would highly recommend.
I've heard that sounds intriguing. I really like that.
Yeah.
I have my boss at work has like a believe sign on his door.
From Ted Lasso.
One understood. No one in that office but him has seen Ted Lasso.
Really?
Which has really made the effect of that diminish. No one knows what's going on there, unfortunately.
I watched it because everyone in my office had watched it and my family had watched it. So I was like, I'm the only one who hasn't watched this. And it was weird because usually it's the other way around.
Yeah.
Where I'm the one that's watched something and nobody else has. And so it was weird to be left out. And so I started watching it. And I just finished season 1.
How many seasons are there?
There's 2 is coming out weekly right now.
Oh, I think so it's in the middle of 2.
Yeah, it's like it's episode 7 of season 2 out of 10. I think 10 episode season. So
okay.
Yeah.
So now's the time.
Now
you can get it on the bottom floor, really.
Pretty much, yeah. But you know what? Let's get into this podcast because we are talking about the year 1996 for season 1. And on this episode 5, we are talking about the first nominee for the 69th Academy Award for Best Picture.
Woo-wee.
Fargo. So, had you seen Fargo before?
I have not seen Fargo before.
Really?
Yeah.
But
I thought I did.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
Yeah.
I was thinking of a totally different movie.
Well, there is a TV show. You didn't see the TV show?
No, I didn't see the TV show either, so
I've
it wasn't
seen the
that.
first 2 seasons of the TV show, and it's really good as well. So.
I heard a lot of people that even said the TV show is better.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Don't you know? So there's a hot take around, and it's possible the TV show, at the very least, nearly lives up to, or surpasses.
I can't say for sure because I watched the first 2 seasons, which were really good, but I haven't seen the latest 2, so I'll have to go check that out. But
interesting.
Yeah, but before we get into it, if you were interested in Fargo, I've included the link to the physical media related to this movie in the show notes below. If you buy it through that link, it'll really help out the show, or if you have any other Amazon shopping to do, follow the general link and help out the show in the process. Final reminder that this is a spoiler-filled conversation, so if you haven't seen Fargo yet, go ahead and do so, but let's just jump into this, shall we?
All right. Fargo 1996, because there's multiple.
Yes.
Fargo is a reality-based crime drama set in Minnesota in 1987, don't you know? Jerry Lundegaard, William H. Macy, is a car salesman in Minneapolis who has gotten him... I'm just slipping into that. I don't want to.
It's just going to happen periodically.
We can't stop it. It's spreading. It's a disease. Minnesota has left the border.
It's like loosely what people like used to impersonate Canadians too.
Yeah.
Like the oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Don't you know, eh? So like it's easy for us to slip in there, eh?
Oh boy. All right. So William H. Macy is a car salesman in Minneapolis who has gotten himself into debt and is so desperate for money he hires 2 thugs, Steve Buscemi and Peter Stormare. Stormare
Your
doesn't
guess
talk
is
much.
good as mine.
To kidnap his own wife. Jerry will collect the ransom from her wealthy father, paying the thugs a small portion and keeping the rest to satisfy his debts. The scheme collapses when the thugs shoot a state trooper. And oh boy, is it zany mishaps and unfortunate happenings after that.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, don't you know? So this film is directed by Joel Coen and written by Joel and Ethan Coen. They're brothers.
Mm-hmm.
It stars Frances McDormand as Marge Gunderson, Steve Buscemi as Carl Scholter, and William H. Macy as Jerry Lundegaard. The runtime is a beautiful 97 minutes, and it was let's simmer in that for a sec. 97 minutes.
Tell me again, how long is it?
1.5 hours.
Oh,
and 7 more minutes.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah? Where are you? Oh, yeah?
Oh, you betcha, yeah.
And it was released theatrically March 8th, 1996. Kyle, what did you think of the film?
I love Fargo.
Man, it's so good.
I watched
so
it a
good.
couple times, and every time I watch it, it's just pure bliss. I it's so much fun. The writing is great. The acting is so good.
It's so good.
And yeah, I just can't say much else about it.
And it's just like well put together too. Like
It really
all the
is.
shots are really well done.
yeah.
There's not like a lot of music in it, but it's delightful every time it makes an
Mhm.
appearance. It's really good at
And
setting the mood.
That theme, like it was like sticking in my head
The
afterwards.
theme is really good, yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So you like?
oh yeah, we're big on Fargo, baby. This is gonna be one podcast loving.
This is gonna be the first episode this season that hasn't fell into rank for the order that we've released it as well. Maybe
We're just not adding it to the bottom anymore.
yeah. Oh well, did you want to get into the
Let's
plot?
deep dive.
All right. Well, we start off with the claim that this is a true story. It says the events depicted in this film took place in Minnesota in 1987. At the request of the survivors, the names had been changed. Out of respect for the dead, the rest has been told exactly as it occurred.
That's a great little card right there. That was
Yeah.
really like, ooh, they really simmer on that one too. That's on there for like a good 45 seconds.
Yeah.
You can sound it out if you need. Like you have enough time. So they really sit on that, but it's good.
Yeah, it is good. But I will say, this is not entirely a true story. It
No.
is an amalgamation of different true stories.
Yeah.
And so...
It's
so-
truly a story.
I literally just said so. It's like, it's the thing. All right.
Minnesota has spread. It's contagious.
All right. Well, we open on a car checking through some snow whilst hauling another car, and we find out that we are in Fargo, North Dakota. This is where Jerry Lundegaard meets Carl and Gare at the bar at night, where it's revealed that Jerry wants Carl and Gare to kidnap Jerry's wife so that he can get ransom money from Jerry's wife's father, who is, quote, real well off. Jerry, who is the executive sales manager at a car dealership, is going to give them a brand new Sierra and $40,000, which is half of the ransom, in cash after the job is finished. We also learn that Jerry is in a bit of financial trouble, but it's not really explained.
It never is explained. I think it's almost maybe intentionally left up to whoever
Yeah.
to decide.
Yeah, what I really like about this movie is that it kind of throws you in this slice of like a moment,
Yeah.
and it doesn't really ask you all too much to pick up all the pieces. Like it kind of knows that you're gonna get it eventually.
I feel like that's a lot of Coen Brother movies where they're willing to throw you in there and they have the respect to know that you'll figure out what you need to know.
Yeah.
We don't have to know every detail. We don't really need to know why he's in debt
Mhm.
because it's not pertinent later in the movie. All you need to know is the man owes people money and he's finding some dumb ways to get it.
Yeah, exactly. And like there's all these locations and they are saying all these names of people that like aren't they don't matter, like
No.
like who his wife is visiting in Florida or whatever. Like none of this matters, but it really like fleshes out the world as being like a real living moment, you know?
Yeah, it feels really interesting. And one small thing, I don't know if you have this in here. I'm going to toss it in now
Okay.
because I saw it as a fun fact, didn't write it down. It wasn't as fun of a fact. But the Coen brothers, like for their characters, they always make backstories, even if they don't make it into the movie itself.
Yeah.
So for Marge and Norm used to be a cop, but retired when he married Margie because you can't have two cops married to each other, and Margie was the better cop. Which I was reading that, And that's really fun and interesting. It doesn't matter, but it explains why all the cops know who Norm is and what he's up to, because they're all buddies because he used to be a cop.
That's a fun fact.
That is kind of, I mean, like, maybe it is a bit of a fun, maybe it's more fun than I gave it credit for. But just as like an addendum to why this has such a good world building is there's just so much small things that don't affect your knowledge of the movie, but finding out about it, it's just so cute.
Yeah, that's great. I'm glad. I'm more fulfilled knowing that now. So thank you for that, Jason, and then the Coen brothers as well.
Mostly me.
After this meeting, Jerry returns home to Minneapolis to see his wife's father, Wade, is there. They have dinner, and his son gives up eating a hamburger to go to McDonald's.
That is really a blight on her cooking.
Yeah, they don't seem to mind, though.
He barely got halfway through that burger.
Yeah.
And it was pink inside. I don't know if it was really pink. I don't know if I blame him.
Yeah, no, I respect his decision to walk away. But we also learn that Jerry wants 40 acres somewhere for a parking lot and wants Wade to help. Wade seems to refuse because he doesn't really know all the details and he hasn't really looked over it. And he also says when Jerry says that like it would help the family, basically, he's like, Gene and Scotty never have to worry. Yeah. So he has like no respect for Jerry at all.
It was cutting.
Yeah. So we also go back to Carl and Gare, and this is one thing about this movie is it cuts between these like three stories constantly of the kidnappers, Carl and Gare, Jerry, and later Marge. And so we'll find that when I'm reading through this plot that I'm going to kind of follow along as we're jumping around.
Some interwoven storytelling going on.
Yeah, I was even debating like reading it out as like in the pieces, in the sections, but I was like, nah, that wouldn't tie it all together.
Yeah, no, you need the mystery.
I need the mystery. So Carl and Gare are going to stop, get pancakes, and get laid. So they get a couple of call girls, and this, I'm only pointing this out because it does come back later.
They flap jacks and humpbacks, baby.
Jerry gets a call at home, and the Gene answering the phone is just so funny.
Oh,
just
yeah.
Like, oh yeah, I'll get him. Yeah, he's here. Yeah.
And then like Scotty chimes in or something. Yeah. And they're like, there's 4 different people saying, oh yeah, about a different thing on the phone call. And it's so cute. It's so quaint. We
hear from Wade, who says that Stan Grossman has looked at Jerry's proposal, and Wade says that it looks pretty sweet.
And I think the impressive thing there was that Wade had said that Stan doesn't say yes to anything. Stan always says no, and then it elevates to Wade. Yeah. But this time Stan says yes.
Well, yeah, he says it's pretty sweet.
It says he's pretty sweet, which makes you think that maybe Jerry was, is it Jerry?
It's Jerry.
We've had a lot of Jerrys recently. I was like, that can't be right. I'm pulling Jerry from your phone. Which makes me think Jerry just totally fudged the numbers because he just wants the money and he got a yes from Stan.
So. Yeah. So this leads Jerry to go to find the guy who referred Gare, Shep Proudfoot, to try and get in contact with the kidnappers and cancel the arrangement for the kidnapping, thinking that he's going to get the $750,000 loan. But he can't get a hold of him because there's no alternate number or anything, and Shep is less than helpful.
Shep wants no part of anything further. Not. He has done his part, probably made a little bit of money or something like that, and he's done.
He's done. He's out. We also get a hint that some of the trouble that Jerry's in regarding car serial numbers, which account to a total of $320,000. So I think this is he fudged these serial numbers, and there's no real loans, maybe?
Yeah, I think what happened is he used the 3 vehicles as collateral for a loan he had taken from the bank, but the cars don't actually exist. So he was able to secure the loan initially saying that he had the 3 cars, and when they were trying to confirm the details of that, then he starts buying time and
basically,
I'll fax you the copy. I'm such a silly Minnesotan. I just don't understand what's happening. When he's just trying to buy another couple hours to figure out what he's going to do for this money.
Yeah, exactly. And because he can't cancel, Carl and Gare then kidnap Gene. Gene fights him off and escapes into the shower curtain before falling down the stairs when she tries to charge Gare, I guess?
I don't know. I think she was just... because he was quiet for a second, so I think maybe she thought that she was clear to go, but...
That's a weird way to be clear to go, though.
Yeah, I know. Maybe she was not such a... I mean, she was in a panicked state.
Probably,
She made a lot of moves as a hostage. Made me think this was her first time being a hostage. A lot of rookie maneuvers, really.
Did you think that she was dead when she fell down the stairs?
No.
Okay.
It didn't seem telegraphed that way.
No, because like he pokes her, and so I think the first time I watched this, I thought she was dead, but like now I knew she wasn't dead. But like that first time, I kind of had that idea. I was like, oh shit, this is already going horribly wrong. But she survives at least this moment.
So like the kidnappers aren't complete imbeciles yet.
Not yet, no. So Jerry then meets Stan and Wade, who are surprised and confused that what Jerry wants isn't an investment and it is instead a loan of $750,000. Wade and Stan say they are going to try and move on the lot independently if Jerry isn't in, and they offer him just a modest like finder's fee.
Yeah, well, I think they throw around like 10%.
Yeah,
which is $75,000.
it's pretty good money. But if he's in trouble for like $320,000, he probably
probably needs a little more than that.
So then we get the scene of Jerry scraping the windshield aggressively and throwing it around, which is just good acting.
It's also just feels so at home because scraping your window sucks.
Oh my God.
I'm not surprised that was the thing to put him over the edge after all the failures of the day. It's just like a window that won't scrape very well.
Yeah.
But also I wanted to just comment on that like business scene. Is you see that Jerry's also pretty incompetent when it comes to business things because like he just gave them the entire plans with no real backup in case something went poorly. Like he keeps just putting all of his hope on things that look like they might come through without thinking about the entire like the next step forward of like, well, if they don't like the financing, they have the plans. They don't need you anymore. You big dummy.
Exactly. Yeah, Jerry didn't think this through entirely, I think. I think he had a plan, but like there was easy ways to poke holes in it, and this was clearly one of them.
So maybe the guy who tried to kidnap his wife wasn't good at this. That's bizarre.
But speaking of the kidnapping, Jerry comes home to find that the kidnapping has taken place, and then he practices how he's going to tell Wade that this has happened before calling him. We don't actually see the phone call, but we just see the practice, which is great.
But it's really funny that he forgets that it would go to a secretary because he starts this thing and has to stop and then be like, Wade, please.
Yeah. But then Carl and Gare get pulled over because of the tags on the vehicle. It has dealer plates from when Jerry dropped it off. Carl didn't bother to change it. Carl then tries to bribe the cop, but the cop doesn't take it, and Gare has to kill him once they start to notice Gene in the back seat, which there was like that weird like blood fountain that just popped out of this guy's head.
They really introduce you to now we're in the murder part of the movie where a lot of people are going to die with just like a nice blood fountain to welcome you in.
But this even just gets worse because while Carl is trying to clear the dead trooper off the road, another car drives by, so Gare has to chase them down. The car ends up slipping and flipping off the road. One of them tries to run away and the other is still alive in the car, but Gare kills them both. And so now we finally meet Frances McDormand's Marge as she gets off the phone call regarding these murders. And when I watched it last night, I remember her showing up later, but I didn't realize how late, and I couldn't check the time. So this time I set a timer, and it was 32 minutes into the movie,
which is a
hour and a half movie.
Yeah.
And like this, and she was a lead actress in this.
Which is pretty crazy. I mean, it gets really Marge-centric after that.
It does.
Thank God.
Yeah.
But yeah, because I knew there was a Marge character coming. I'd never seen this before.
No.
But I was also surprised with the fact that the lead actress was coming in so late into this movie.
Yeah. Like a lot of setup, but important and worthy.
So much payoff.
Yeah, exactly. We also get to meet Norm, Marge's husband, and he is just top shelf husband.
Oh, he's so cute.
He's great. He wakes up early and he makes her some eggs. He didn't have to wake up. She said he could sleep, but he gets up anyways, and he makes her some eggs. He boosts her car, and then she's on her way.
God bless.
Did you realize she was pregnant right away?
No, I didn't until she mentioned it.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
When she brought up the morning sickness, I was like, oh, did she just get pregnant? And then I realized, no, if she just got pregnant, she would know it's morning sickness.
Yeah.
Then I realized she's pregnant.
Yeah. Yeah, like it was, they don't make it that apparent. Like you can maybe see her bump when you're looking back at it afterwards. But like, yeah. Anyways, so Marge meets up with Lou and they get onto working on some top tier police work. Marge realizes the difference in the footsteps and notices that there's two guys, one bigger guy and one little guy. And she says that the trooper looked like a nice enough guy.
Yeah, which is really funny because he's just dead.
Yeah, he's
just
dead.
a frozen
like,
pop.
Iced over.
He's just a copsicle.
Yeah. Oh, no.
They also have a great little working relationship, Lou and
Marge. Yeah.
I don't know. They're just. She is a cute husband and like also a cute little work husband. It's really sweet. I like her.
Yeah, but she also like tosses his coffee away like afterwards.
Oh yeah,
She just doesn't want it.
When he's not looking, she tosses it. I mean, that was a funny detail. I like that.
She does drink a little bit, but she must just.
It must
not
have been
wanted
shit
cup.
to your coffee.
Yeah. So Marge also figures out that the plate was a dealer plate after Lou explains that he called it in to look for plates that's a DLR with no tags. And so they, start piecing it together. Jerry meets up with Wade and Stan and explains the ransom. They aren't involving any cops, and they are asking for $1 million. So this is not what he explained to the kidnappers. So this is mean Jerry's now trying to get more money out of Wade than the kidnappers even know.
Mm-hmm.
And did you catch that?
No, I didn't.
Yeah.
What were the dollar figures? Because I missed that entirely.
Yeah. So actually, when I was trying to piece this together last night, I was looking at the numbers and I was like, wait, like why are all these numbers kind of mismatched? So essentially, Jerry tells the kidnappers that they're getting a ransom of $80,000. Jerry has no real contact with Carl except for when like they're going to do the drop, and Jerry's just telling Wade and Stan essentially everything that he says that the kidnappers are saying. And so the kidnappers only think that they're getting $40,000 of an $80,000 ransom, whereas Jerry tells Wade that they are asking for $1 million.
Oh, right. Yeah. Okay, yeah, no, I do remember that $1 million figure now. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. And that amount of money and that confusion also comes back later.
Ooh, Jerry's a sly guy.
Yeah, he got a plan.
Surely this plan's going to pay off for him in a way that he wants.
Yeah, Jerry seems to totally have forgotten that he has a son too.
He's such an absent dad.
Yeah.
There's that one scene where Wade's like, "How's Scotty doing?" And he's been like, Oh shit, I have a son. I forgot about that kid. He's probably still at soccer practice.
Yeah.
And then when he goes to talk to Scotty, all he does is tell him what to tell people who might ask.
Basically.
His kid's in the corner crying.
Yeah.
There's also so many hobby things going on there. That kid's under a lot of pressure. There's like a music stand. There's a hockey stick.
Yeah, there's an accordion.
There's an accordion on the bed. Like this kid is a one-man circus. He just lost his mother.
Yeah.
And his dad's only trying to tell him like what to tell people who ask about his mom.
Basically.
While he's sitting there crying.
Yeah. Oof. And like he doesn't really care about his wife either. Like,
Oh no!
Like I think he asks about her later out of like maybe obligation, but like he's really just in this for the money.
Yeah, he is willfully letting her go into a very dangerous situation so he can get some money for some debts. Doesn't care about his son. So when Wade says that Gene and Scotty are taken care of, he was wrong. They were not taken care of at all.
I mean, not by him at least.
No, it's not his fault. They were done dirty.
So Carl and Gare arrive at their kind of safe house, and Gene tries to run away in this kind of funny clip. And actually, this is a fun fact that I have for you that I hope you don't have. But after they put the hood on Gene's face, that is no longer the same actress.
Oh.
It's a double for the rest of the movie.
Oh, that's funny. I guess, I mean, why? No, I don't guess. Why do they do that?
So basically, they only had to pay the actress that actually played the wife for a few days. And the rest of the time, they just had to pay a double, basically.
It's a budget thing.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense. I think the double's only in the chicken running around scene and like two other times anyways.
Or like sitting in a chair, yeah.
Yeah.
And then like laying down, yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of funny.
Yeah, more you know. So Norm also brings Marge lunch, again, being a god-tier husband. And
man, this is just cut from the finest cloth.
Yeah, he is.
Everyone needs a Norm in their life.
He's a painter, he's trying to get into this stamp contest.
He's trying to get into the duck stamp business, and it's a massive market.
And we also learned that Lou has found out that the two kidnappers had company that night, so when they got pancakes and got laid. So Marge goes to visit the two women they had sex with, and those women reveal, in a really funny scene, Carl and Gare said that they were going to the Twin Cities.
Yeah. What I also love about this scene is that there's never been a movie where Steve Buscemi hasn't been shat on for being Steve Buscemi. He's not even that ugly yet.
Yeah.
Like this is the peak of what he looks like physically. You could have just let him have this one, but you had to shit on him.
Yeah, no, like the whole movie, they're like, oh yeah, he's kind of funny looking.
Yeah. But anyways, poor
I
Buscemi.
mean, he got work. He got lots of work.
He got paid and laid.
Yeah. And, when Disney wanted them, they just made him Mike Wazowski.
Yeah. Another character who gets shit on for his appearance constantly.
Yeah, it does.
He can't even win the cartoon ones.
Oh, shit. All right. So we also cut back to Carl and Gare. Carl is frustrated that he can't get TV signal. And this only really goes to elevate Carl's frustration, I guess, and causes him to make some mistakes that people start to talk about. But that's never explained, basically. And like Carl going to the bar, which is told later from another person's perspective, never happens. But you can see his frustration here, and it makes sense when that guy explains it later.
Yeah, I think it shows like his anger, like temperament problems as well.
Yeah.
As the fact that makes sense. He has nothing to do in there, so he would go stir crazy because the TV sucks.
Yeah, but Gare got the TV working.
Gare got it going.
And I think it was with like tinfoil or whatnot. I don't know if you noticed the top of the TV after, but it had like a tinfoil wrapping over top of it.
I didn't notice that.
Gare's a little bit more what's it? Ingenuitive?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Cool.
Sure. Yeah. I
fucking knew it.
Yeah. Let's do it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh, you betcha.
Don't
yeah.
you know?
So Marge gets another call in the middle of the night. This time it's from Mike Yaganita.
It's Mike. She gets a call from Mike. I lost the plot after that too.
Yanagita. That's yeah. There we go. I fucked that.
Yeah, it's okay.
So Mike saw Marge on TV and called just to have like a random chat. And you think it's much later than it is, but he's like, oh, it's 11:15. And like, that's like 10:45.
Yeah.
These guys are like asleep. These guys act like an old married couple, but yeah, she's having a baby.
Yeah. That is kind of funny.
It is kind of weird.
I think it's just like meant to throw you off because the first phone call's at like some ungodly hour in the morning. So you just expect this one to also be like that. But
True.
Maybe that just shows like the stress of the job or something where there's still sleep. I mean, Norm would sleep. He would sleep up a storm. He only needs to be awake when Marge is awake because he's such a god-tier husband. He doesn't need to be awake on his own hours.
I guess this is the same day that they had to get up early. Right? I think it's the same day.
No, I don't think so. No, it couldn't have been because if she's on the news, it would take more than a couple. If it's 11:15 a.m., I'm assuming.
No,
or was it p.m.?
Yeah, it's like 10:45 p.m.
That would change.
So I think
maybe
she
it was.
woke up
Maybe
early,
it was.
went to the I think this was the
that
same
makes
day.
sense. Yeah.
Okay, so then Carl calls Jerry to tell him that the circumstances have changed. Carl tells him 3 people have been killed, and now they want the whole $80 ransom. After that call, the serial number guy calls Jerry again to tell him that if he doesn't get the serial numbers by tomorrow, that he's going to have to refer this whole thing to their legal department, which I'm sure is presumably bad.
Probably bad.
Yeah, probably Jerry is done for.
And it also like really shows how in over his head Jerry was, where everything fell apart so quickly. And like, how could you not see the people you hired to kidnap your wife betray you? What did you expect?
Yeah, exactly. So Marge gets the name of the mechanic that Jerry was referred to, Shep Proudfoot, and she heads down to the Twin Cities to meet him. I think that's Minneapolis.
That is, yeah.
Okay.
Minneapolis and St. Paul, I believe.
Oh, okay. Wow, I didn't know any
If
of
I'm
this.
wrong, I am so wrong.
Oh,
but I'm pretty sure it is. Oh, yeah. Do I know?
Oh, you betcha, yeah. So at dinner, Wade demands that he be the one to deliver the money to the kidnappers. Obviously, Jerry doesn't want this to go through because he's not being honest on both sides. And so if Wade is the one that delivers the money, Jerry won't be able to control the fact that he told him $1 million but is only supposed to give him $80,000.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that's why he really doesn't want this to happen.
Yeah, because Jerry is probably going to give the people $80,000 and then keep the other $920,000.
Yeah, exactly. And so I think with that, he wants to then pay off his debt and then maybe buy this lot.
I don't know if the lot was ever a real thing. I kind of feel like that was just he made up the numbers to get the loan, and he just cared about getting the money and figuring out the rest later.
Maybe.
But I think his debt was just so large. Like, he's getting $320K from the bank. He needs $750 from this. Like, I think he needs close to $1 million to settle whatever debt he's at.
That's crazy. How do you even get that for? Like,
Man, Pokemon cards, dude. You get in deep. You can't get out. You
Fortnite
get in. You can't get out. Dude, we need some Mewtwo's quick.
So Carl then goes to the airport to steal a license plate so he doesn't have to deal with the dealer plate anymore. And then we get this scene where he has to pay the $4 even though he didn't park there.
Yeah.
It's so funny him trying to explain like, oh yeah, I decided not to park here. And the guy's just his stupid fucking grin. He's just like, yeah, well, there's a policy here. And he's just like, oh, you think you're some sort of authority figure, huh? Fucking stupid ass uniform.
One thing that is so good is in this movie, it shows these like bizarre characters like interacting with the real world to some degree.
Yeah.
So it's like, and actually it does show one good moment of Jerry earlier in the movie when he's dealing with people who he's selling the car to, and he actually pulls an absolute sleazy on them.
True, yeah.
So clearly, like, he is still good at that, and it shows something he has control over, and that he does have some redeeming qualities not redeeming qualities human being. He's a sleazeball, but he has like some talent and ability. So it's funny how they interact with the real world, because Steve Buscemi's character, over $4 that he had in his wallet, knowing he's about to make 10,000 times that or whatever, and he's still putting up like a massive fight over this.
Yeah, it's funny. And like, I think that also speaks to his character and some of his decisions later on. With how like I guess frugal he is in a way, and like how like stubborn he is to give away what he thinks is his.
Exactly, yeah.
And actually, it's funny that you mentioned that scene because I cut that out of the notes because I didn't think it was that relevant. But that is 100% true story, because that happened to one of the Coen brothers. They were on the other side of. They were the guy getting angry, basically. And so he wrote his interaction with this car salesman basically word for word, or as close as you can get from memory, into this movie, but maybe out of frustration.
If you cross the Coen brothers, you were getting slandered across millions of screens around the world.
Yeah, and also the Coen brothers are from Minnesota.
Yeah,
which I didn't know.
Oh, that's kind of funny.
Looking into this movie afterwards. Oh yeah.
Don't you know?
You betcha, yeah. So Marge then visits Shep and once again does some pretty good detective work, but Shep claims ignorance, and then she goes to visit Jerry and asks him about the Tan Sierra that was maybe stolen off the lot. Jerry obviously denies this, says nothing has been stolen. She believes him and then leaves. Jerry then tries to call Shep, but he's left after this conversation with Marge because Carl is making a little bit of noise and he has to go deal with him. So he's out there to go find Carl. Marge then meets with Mike in this really weird but also really great scene.
This was so good, but so painful.
Yeah, because like he goes across the table to sit next to Marge. He's like, "Do you mind if I sit here?" And she's like, "Actually, I prefer you over there." And
but it's so good to her character too.
Yeah,
because she just shuts that down because she's not interested. Also, Mike knows that she's both married to the best husband in the world.
Yeah.
And pregnant, and he still makes a little move anyways.
But he also kind of makes a jab at Norm in a way because he uses like a nickname, Norm son of a Gunderson.
Oh yeah.
And so maybe he's like trying to diminish him in a way and like trying to ignore the fact that he even exists or in Marge's life. But yeah, this guy is so weird.
He is so
especially
weird.
when you like learn later, I guess, this is not that important, but like that he was totally lying about his having a wife who they knew from high school and her having leukemia and then dying.
Which I also think was maybe like intentional lie. Like he wasn't just being like a weird creepy guy.
Yeah,
I think he was trying to elicit sympathy so that his move could be more like he got shut down for the direct approach, so now he's going to try the sympathy card to try and get with Marge.
Yeah, exactly. And I was watching closer this time, and he doesn't start crying until he starts claiming that he's so lonely.
Yeah.
And so like you can see him kind of act through this lie. But when he kind of breaks down is when he's like, just like, I'm so lonely. Like it's been so hard being alone. But then you later learn that he's like mentally ill and like living with his parents. And,
and not having a good time with it.
No, not really. And that Linda's fine, like she's alive. And
Which good for Linda.
Yeah.
I'm happy. There was one happy ending.
Yeah, exactly.
It's Linda.
Yeah, and like the lady on the phone is like, "Oh yeah, I should give her a call sometime."
That was adorable. How every single character knows everyone else.
Yeah.
And everyone, oh, you should give him a call sometime. So small town.
Yeah, exactly. So then we cut back with Carl, who has an escort. She's taken her to a club. I don't remember what the club is, but it's like a fancier club. And then they have the weirdest sex.
Yeah.
She's
the
like,
greatest sex.
Oh yeah, get it on there. And then out of fucking nowhere, she gets thrown off, and Shep just starts beating fucking Carl's ass.
Absolutely laying into him.
Absolutely, yeah. And like, he takes no prisoners. Like,
no.
There's like random guy outside that he just shoves over.
The guy was just there because they're being too loud.
Yeah.
And he gets taken to Pound Town as well.
And like, Shep just like throws them against the wall. Like, he's not like punching or kicking like this guy. I mean, he punches and kicks Carl, but this guy, he's just like tossing around. And then the escort tries to leave, and he like kicks her on her way out.
There's a little booty blast on the way out too.
And then Carl tries to put on some pants, but then he grabs his like belt off of his pants and then just starts whipping him.
Beating the man with his own belt.
Yeah, but this leads Carl to basically want it to be over with and done. So he calls Jerry, and Wade listens in. Carl wants the deal to be done ASAP, and so Wade hits the road and Jerry follows. At the deal, Carl shoots Wade after, he wasn't Jerry, and he made a big fuss about it. And obviously his patience has been a little bit tested.
He's so down bad at this point.
Yeah.
No wins at any point in the road. He needs some cash to get out.
Yeah, exactly. And so Carl kills Wade. He shoots him, and Wade falls over and then shoots Carl like in the face, like grazes him.
In the jaw.
Yeah. And then Carl obviously was angry about that, and he just shoots Wade a bunch of times. Yeah. And then drives away with the $1 million and a new face wound. Jerry then gets to the body of Wade and opens his trunk. And like, you don't even need to explain what's happening here. You just need a shot of him opening the trunk, and you know that he's just about to toss that man in there and cover this whole thing up if he can.
Yeah, which is really a good scene for the inference it makes and the result it has, because I think it gets diminished if you show him trying to awkwardly load this heavy man into the trunk with his like flimsy no spine body. So just having the trunk open is really powerful and also saves time.
Yeah, exactly. So an officer then gets I should also mention, so Carl then kills the ticket taker on the way out, and like, I was kind of like, what did the guy just like not lift the thing when this guy's clearly bleeding to fucking death?
And this is America. It would make sense that you can have that kind of injury and still drive yourself to the hospital. They could get away with that one.
Yeah, this guy's trying to scrape more money out of this guy. Oh my God.
Yeah, I think
like, it's free, really. If you saw somebody bleeding to death and you were like stopping them because you wanted $2 for parking, like, you're kind of an asshole, but maybe
here's
not
the
deserve
thing.
to death.
It's a day charge. What are they going to do? It's $4.
Yeah.
Carl knew the cost when he went back in that parkade. He knew what he was getting into.
Yeah. And so an officer gets a call from a random guy who was the bartender at a bar that Carl went to when he was kind of getting stir crazy at the lake. He tells him that Carl was looking for some action, and they have this like really fun story.
Yeah.
Just like, he's like, oh, so then I called it in a story.
Yeah.
This guy was great.
I also love like the parting comment is like, oh, a cold front's coming in, as they're already bundled up as much as possible.
Yeah. Well, actually, this movie, they wanted to film in Minnesota, obviously, and they did it during winter. But it was one of the warmest winters that they had in like years when they filmed this. And so there was a time where there wasn't actually real snow on the ground, and they had to like make fake snow from like ice shaving. And so the scene where Carl goes to the airport, that whole top is completely covered in snow. But if you look into the corners, you can see that there's no snow anywhere else but that parking lot, because they just covered that whole thing.
Oh, that's kind of funny.
Yeah.
Unfortunate, though.
Yeah, unfortunate. So yeah, the police officer says it's probably nothing, but this information does get to Marge.
But let's just shit on Steve Buscemi one more time, really quick. Just parting blow. Guy looks weird. Now he has a face wound too. The last thing that man needed.
No wonder he went to voice acting. Mike Wazowski.
Just to get shit on more. Anyways,
so Carl then examines the money and realizes that it's way more than $80,000. And so I want to get your take on this. What did you think he was doing?
When he was counting the money, you mean?
No, sorry, I should say. He goes and then he takes out the 80 grand and then goes and buries this money in the snow. And so, like, what was your take on this when this was happening?
I think he was just doing it as a security thing because he was still heading back to talk to his buddy pal. Yeah. So he was smart enough to know that there's room for it to go wrong, especially with his injury. Yeah. So he probably felt the best thing he can do is actually make it look like he only had the 80K, hide the rest, come back for it, and that way, like, it can't be taken from him if Big Silly or Big Gary if Big Gary like notices the money or something like that. I think it's just like actually a decent crook move, a smart move.
See, that's I when I was watching it like earlier before this like research time, I was kind of confused as to what he was doing with it. But now that I realize that he didn't realize that there was $1 million involved in this, I read it how you're reading it now, where he buried it as kind of like a security so that he can take the 80,000 to Gare and then just drive away and get it later, I guess.
I don't know why he bothered going back. He should have just left. Like what?
Yeah.
What's the guy gonna do?
I guess like Gare might have tried to go find him. And so like if he goes and settles up the 80,000, like all is good.
I guess that could be case closed.
And maybe he had to go back for the wife anyways. But
he didn't seem to care when she was dead.
No, I don't think so. Oh yeah, maybe.
I don't know. Maybe he's just a good guy.
Yeah.
Deep down, he's just really true to his word.
Yeah, because he didn't bring her to the meet, and so Jerry probably knew that he wasn't going to bring her.
Yeah.
And that they would maybe get him back later, or that maybe she wasn't going to come back.
Yeah. I'm just surprised Carl didn't double cross.
Yeah.
He could have.
He could have.
He didn't. He's a hero.
But he's a man of his word, I guess. Yeah. He's going to give him the 80 grand and walk away.
Good
and then
him.
go take the rest of the $1 million.
Yeah.
And so he puts a little scraper in there like that because there's like endless fence that looks exactly the same. But that money is just going to sit there because we continue on. Marge learns that Mike never married Linda. And so we already kind of talked about this. But this deception is kind of what leads Marge to go back to Jerry and ask him if he knows for sure that the car wasn't lying, because she just believed him right away. And, you know, faced with one lie, she's like, oh, maybe other people were lying there.
Which is so sweet and funny that, like, this small town Minnesotan was just like, oh, people can lie?
People can lie?
I got to double check some things.
And then we get this kind of fun scene between Jerry and Marge where Jerry is clearly at his wits' end. He's like short fused. He's trying to scrape together any sort of cover that he can get, but it doesn't work. And he gets snippy with Marge. And when she's asking him, like, do you know for sure, like, where, you know, that you didn't have a car stolen? And so when it finally gets down to it and she asks about Wade, because she's like, can I speak to Mr. Gunderson, please? Obviously, he's dead in the trunk of Jerry's car. And so he's like, okay, I'll go do a lock count. And he gets up and drives away. And it's so funny. She's like, he's playing the interview. He's playing the interview. And then she tries to like get a line out on his phone.
Which is Wade's last name all Gunderson?
Oh, maybe not. Maybe?
Maybe? Because that would be a funny detail if Jerry took Linda's last name.
Oh, that's interesting. Wait.
I don't know.
No, wait, hold on.
Who?
Maybe it was Gustafson?
It was probably some similar name. They're all...
Norm is Gunderson.
Yeah.
And Marge Gunderson.
Yeah, that makes sense. But was Wade's last name Lundegaard? I love how all these last names are like one generation removed from just straight Vikings.
Yeah. Hold on here, then. This is going to get...
The Lundegaard Gundersons.
Okay, it is Gustafson.
Okay, yeah. Well, I don't blame you. All these last names are so similar.
Getting them mixed up. So yeah,
come on,
she wants to speak with Mr. Gustafson, who is Wade. Obviously, Wade is in the trunk of Jerry's car, and so Jerry goes to do a lock count, leaves. Yeah, we covered this. And so we cut to Carl, who gets back from his encounter with Wade, and he delivers the $80,000 to Gare, and he says he's taking the Sierra. Gare wants to split the car.
Yeah.
And like he kind of has a solution where the other pays for half of the other car, but that would be like half. Like how much would those cars be? I don't know, like 20. No, it was like 19.5 for some cars. That was one of the names.
You have to imagine that's like at least the ballpark that
yeah,
this
it's
is
like
going to be in.
So 10 grand probably.
Somewhere in there, yeah.
For half. Yeah. And so he obviously doesn't want to split with that, even though he knows that he's got another $1 million
But
in a
this man
field
is
somewhere.
just so frugal.
Yeah. And so he's like, he grips to that. He's like, no, I'm taking this Sierra. Like I got shot in the face. Like he's taking it. Obviously, Gare doesn't take that very well because he takes an axe to him and kills him.
So he does chop it in half with an axe.
Maybe that's what he was aiming for. He was just trying to chop the Sierra in half.
He missed.
And he missed.
Better wood chipper him.
Oh, and so this is kind of when the stories start to align a little bit because Marge swings by the lake after the report that guy gives him. And she sees the tan Sierra and decides to investigate. And she sees Gare putting Carl through a wood chipper. And then you get like she's trying to like call out to him like police, like put your hands up. And she's like, he obviously can't hear her. She's
Because
like,
of the wood chipper.
because of the wood chipper. And I was kind of surprised too that Gare didn't like try to take her on.
Yeah.
You know, he just throws a piece of wood at her and then runs
Yeah.
into an open field.
It is an interesting move. Maybe it's just like the whole panic scenario because that's exactly what the first guy he killed, or I guess technically second guy he killed was because the trooper was the first. But he got out of the car and just started sprinting. So maybe it was just like the surprise. He was caught off guard and just started running or something like that.
Yeah, maybe.
He didn't have a gun either. I mean,
no, but
Carl did though. He probably would have had that gun because he had Carl's whole body with him.
He did. Yeah, that's a good point. But like, you think that throwing a piece of wood and then charging might have been a good play. You might have got shot, but
yeah,
like she's a pregnant tiny woman. Yeah, anyways,
yeah.
So Marge shoots him in the leg and then arrests him and puts him in the back of a car. And they have a little chat about, just being about a little money. And there's more to life than a little money.
Oh, I just don't get it.
Yeah.
I just don't know.
Yeah, she's judging like really hard, but in a mom way.
Yeah. And like an innocent, well, not really. Yeah, kind of innocent, small town. Like, how can bad things happen?
Yeah.
I don't get it.
And so the cops and an ambulance meet up with her. And then we also cut to Jerry in a hotel room, and some cops have found him. And it's funny because they ask for Mr. Anderson, and you hear him say, "Who?" Because he's already forgotten what alias he's given to the hotel staff. Yeah. And so they're like, all right, let me in. And they arrest him. And he goes down in like a squealing panic. And the last thing we learn is that Norm won the 3 cent for his mallard.
Good for Norm.
Starts getting on the 3 cent. And they're like, we're doing pretty good,
Oh, it's so sweet.
It's really sweet.
After Marge has done so much more.
Yeah.
She brought this man, the one remaining criminal, to justice.
Yep.
While pregnant on her own. Didn't wait for backup, which also maybe not a great move, but she's so dedicated. She's such a good cop. That dedicated to the force that she's going for it anyways.
Yeah, she did it.
She did it. Good on you, Margie.
All ends there. But that's Fargo.
That is Fargo.
Yeah. So
what a flick.
I know. So good.
It's so good.
What are some of your favorite parts?
I really loved how dumb Jerry was. It was really entertaining. This is why you don't cross the Coen brothers, because they will make you look like a fool who doesn't love his kid or his wife and has a bunch of debts. Like this was entirely they couldn't probably have they had no witty comeback or anything while they're selling the cars. Like, we're writing a whole movie about this.
Their writers are gonna go.
This is an elaborate comeback they had in the shower afterwards. They're just like, oh man, at least I got the plot for Fargo now. I'm trying to think of there was a lot of really good moments. Carl has a great character. I really love him.
Yeah,
everything he does.
Steve Buscemi does really good.
Steve Buscemi is so good in this. And you know what, Steve Buscemi, you are a handsome fellow.
Yeah.
You are beautiful.
You are beautiful.
Stay beautiful Steve Buscemi.
I like his scene with the ticket guy. Not the one he kills, but the guy that is like, so you think of some sort of authority figure?
Yeah, that was his look of shock too.
There's a little scene of them too in the car where he's talking to Gare about how he doesn't say anything, and he's like, "Well, yeah, you two can play that game. I'm gonna sit here and see how you like it. Total silence, total fucking silence." He just keeps going
He has
on.
no ability to not speak.
Yeah, I also like that little scene. We didn't talk about it much, but where Marge visits the two escorts. And they're talking about their high school and how they met and go Bears.
Go Bears. That was so fun. I also love when Carl takes the other escort to that concert.
Yeah.
The guy playing sucks ass. and they're talking about his performance. And he's like, well, sometimes you get good ones, sometimes you get bad ones. But when you get whatever this guy is, you're in for a good time. Meanwhile, he's playing the simplest, I can't even remember what the words were.
I know, but
it's
it was so basic.
There's 3 million of those songs. Everyone who has who knows what a C chord is can write that song.
And the escort looks so unimpressed.
Yeah.
She's just squished her face against her hand, and it's just and he asks her, he's like, "Oh, you find that work interesting?" She's like, "What are you talking about?"
Yeah.
And then she fucks him in the weirdest way.
That was my favorite. That was my favorite scene. I want that sex scene as a ringtone on my phone because it sounded nothing like the actual sexual act.
She is so unenthused. She's like, "Oh yeah, you'll get it. All right." Yeah. And in the meanwhile, Steve Buscemi's he's selling it. He's gripping and
Mike Wazowski. Oh, God.
Who is your favorite of the performers though, from the acting standpoint?
What's it? Oh, McDormand.
Yeah, it's McDormand.
It's McDormand
all day
the whole way,
McDormand.
all day.
She's so good, and some of the you can see it in her face, how she feels in a certain moment, especially in the scene with Mike, where you can see when he sits next to her, and her face just goes holy shit.
Yeah.
And then she tells him pretty straight, I prefer you over there.
Yeah.
And then after when he goes back, she's like, "Oh no, it's fine.
But
it's
still
no big
polite.
deal." Yeah.
But still setting that firm boundary.
She's so good, and especially the scene in the end, which is talking about a little money. You can see she's she doesn't get it, but she's also, I guess, I don't know, maybe she's pities him in a way.
Yeah, you see that she sees so much more in humanity, and she's legitimately sad for this guy in her back seat.
Oh yeah, she does a lot with her hour of time.
Hour 7, baby.
Yeah.
That's all you need with Frances
Honestly.
McDormand.
Yeah, do you want to get to reviews though?
I think that brings us to reviews.
Sure.
Let's hit them. All right, Kyle, what do you think was the response from the critics and from the audience?
Well, it was a nominee. I think it's going to be decently high.
Safe bet.
I think for both, actually, because I think critics are like this, and then it's also kind of a crowd pleaser in a way, too. Maybe a little bit lower on us. I'm going to say a 90 for critics, and then maybe an 85 for audience.
Well, you had the right idea.
Yeah.
You weren't far off.
No?
Rotten Tomatoes, critics 94, they loved it. Audience 93, they loved it. Sheesh.
Oh, yeah?
Oh, yeah?
Oh, you betcha, yeah.
Oh, you're almost there.
That's really close, yeah.
IMDb, 8.1.
Oh, yeah, that's good. That's high.
Metacritic, 8.5.
Damn.
They
pretty
loved
good,
it.
Yeah.
You know who else loved it? The People's Wallets.
Oh, really?
On a budget of $7 million, $60.6 million return. That ain't bad.
That's
Especially because when you get a Best Picture nominee, normally it's something really stuffy and artsy and doesn't do as well. I mean, that's not a firm rule, but you can see that happening quite a bit where it's a movie maybe a really big budget and it's just not a household name, so it doesn't do so well. But yeah, it pulled. It pulled decently. Nothing wrong with that.
It probably did well, not only after it got its nomination, but probably through word of mouth too.
Yeah,
because it's a pretty easy movie to watch. Obviously, it's the best runtime of an hour and 35 minutes.
Oh, perfect.
But it's also funny and an actually well-made film.
Yeah.
And so yeah.
And if I had seen this in theaters, I am rounding up as many pals as I can and going right back to watch it with them. I want to show this to as many people as I can.
Yeah, I watched it last night and I had no hesitation watching it again today. I was I was ready.
It could have been painful watching it back to back. It could have been a bad setup.
No.
But it was a good time.
Yeah, and I actually got more out of it the second time too because I was paying attention to some of the little details and you could see more in the performances, especially in that that scene with Mike, and at the end, like you pick up on more stuff, and it's good shit.
Yeah, you're pulling some details that make me want to go back and watch it again. Cause I'm like, oh, I missed all of that because it was just like watching like the basic movie. It was the first time I'd seen it.
Yeah.
But there's so much stuff that went into this that I didn't even notice.
Movie,
oh God,
yeah, it's
I only
dripping.
skimmed the top. I didn't lick around the edges yet. Box office number. You know, actually, give me a wild guess. What do you think this placed in the box office for this year?
Oh, like overall.
Yeah.
Ooh, it was 60 million. You said.
Yeah. Or yeah. What number?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
What you
Okay.
mean. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh.
It was higher than 60 million. It did better than that. It was. It didn't
Oh,
rank
yeah,
60
okay, all
millionth.
right.
Kyle,
Oh, yeah,
come on.
good joke. Yeah, all right. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. All right then. I'm gonna say in like the 30s, like somewhere in the 30 range, like 30 to 35 maybe.
That's a good guess.
Yeah?
Somehow, only 68.
Oh wow.
Yeah. I mean, it was a
yeah.
good box office. It wasn't legendary. Must have
No.
just been a pretty big box year.
Yeah, maybe I'm like, because like 60 million now isn't like a huge box office.
No.
And so maybe I was thinking that back then it would be a little bit bigger, but I guess not. I'll
I bet
have to
also
consider
for
that
this
next time.
range, like if every million it made probably shot it up like 3 or 4 spots. Like
Yeah.
it's probably so close once you
Yeah.
get that lower down in the box office. So.
Mhm. Well, and at least it made a return, unlike
Oh,
some
yeah.
of the other movies we've talked about this year so far.
Yeah. But this one deserved even more, in my
Oh, yeah.
opinion. There's no amount of money that it didn't deserve to make.
I mean, it's probably had a huge life afterwards too.
I
Not
imagine.
only because of the TV show, but because it's connected through Joel and Ethan Coen.
Yeah, they're
And,
pretty
like,
good.
Yeah,
Yeah, they've
people
done a
wanna
couple
watch their
movies.
filmography.
Yeah.
And this kind of it in a way it gave me No Country vibes. You can
Yeah.
see where they went, where they came from with No Country.
They
in
have
a way,
such a
too.
distinct style of like
Yeah.
world building and story building that it's the same thing in a
Mhm.
way.
This one's not as bleak as No
No.
Country was, not like at all. But yeah, it's got some of the stylistic
Yeah.
choices, and that might also be because of the cinematography, which is
Yeah.
the same from Roger Deakins in both.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, that one of my favorite shots of the movie is when Marge is eating breakfast with Norm, and then it's just like that shot of like the left like half of the screen's them eating
Yeah.
breakfast, and she like gets up, walks down the door to the car, back in. It's all
Yeah.
one continuous shot that you just watch through like the door window. I
Yeah.
love that. I really like
That
that.
was really good. Yeah,
Yeah.
and actually, I was watching somebody talk about this on YouTube, and they pointed out that most of the shots with Norm and Marge, they're together in
Mhm.
the same frame. And so like you never like have the cuts on a single where it's like where with Carl and Gayer, like you don't really see them together in the same frame very often. But with Marge and Norm, it's like they're always in the same frame together. So it really like
Really
invokes that
connects
strength,
them.
you know, of their
Yeah.
relationship and their bond.
That is so cute.
I
love it.
Norm.
I
I love
love
his like
Norm.
he doesn't have much in this movie in terms, but like
Powerhouse.
what a legend!
The
Like
foundation.
even when he was like sleeping on Marge at the end with like his bag of chips, not at the end but in the middle, and like she's like, "Okay, I'm gonna turn in then," and he's just like, huh?
He's waking up and be like, "Hey, okay, dude."
"Yeah, okay." Fuck, yeah.
Time for our scores.
die for Norm.
And they're going to be astronomical.
Yeah. I actually already got my score ready last night. I was like, I'm ready to go.
I
So-
didn't, but I watched it for the first time today, so I couldn't.
Okay.
Okay. Kyle, enjoyment. General enjoyment of the movie. What do you got?
4.5.
4.5. I can't help but give this a 5. I don't know.
Nice. Good.
I don't know if I could find more enjoyment in a movie. Like
Mhm.
as far as the pure enjoyment category goes, I had a blast start to finish.
Yeah.
What went behind your 4.5 there?
You know what? This is a stupid excuse, and I think I might even go back on myself later. But like some of the like what I said earlier about how they put us in like this slice of life, and some of the things aren't explained. I think the money part wasn't explained as maybe as just like 1 second better than it needed to. It's
I know
hard
what you mean, because
I'm really nitpicking here.
Yeah, it is such a pillar of the movie. Like the entire movie happened because of this
Yeah.
money problem. So it's definitely a choice to never explain that.
Well, and like I had to look this up to figure this out. And like obviously I've now told you, and so you know, you maybe even you wouldn't have known before, you know? Or did you get it? Like,
About
the money. Like the different amounts of money and like his debt and everything.
I didn't notice on all the different amounts of money,
Yeah.
but like I had a clear enough picture that I wasn't really questioning it.
Yeah.
That was like I was willing to accept that they're not going into it and probably for a reason, so I moved on.
Yeah. Okay.
But
Yeah.
like I don't blame you at all.
Totally fair.
I don't blame you at all.
That's just kind of my point. It's like the fact that I had to like look it up after. That might just be because I'm stupid.
No.
But like, but yeah. Anyways.
No, unrelated thing, Kyle.
Yeah.
All right, Craft.
Fuck.
I thought you had your scores ready.
I did, but
this
now
is
I'm
all unraveling.
reconsidering.
No, don't be scared to love it.
I'm going 4.5 again.
Don't be scared to
I'm
love.
going 4.5 again. I had it at 4, but after watching it a second time and like I did this before, I was like watching videos about like how they crafted it and everything. Yeah, it's a 4.5 for me.
Yeah.
It's like it's so great. Like they put you into this world.
Mhm.
Like there's no point that really takes you out of this world in a way. The costumes are on point. All of their accents never waver. They're all like perfect to a T. The cinematography, beautiful. The score, that theme, like it doesn't have to do much, but I remember it. The like it's good.
I'm with you. 4.5. Like I don't know if it's exactly a perfect 5 because I think like maybe a more ambitious movie could do something even more perfect. I don't know.
Yep.
I was moved enough to give enjoyment a 5 because like that's maximum
For sure.
enjoyment. I'm sure there's a couple things that weren't exactly 100% perfect, so I like that 4.5.
Yeah, okay.
I'll be right there with you for 4.5.
Cool.
Execution.
I gave this a 4, which I thought was good because the acting's really good and the writing is solid, but I think my like confusion dropped us a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that is fair.
Yeah.
I don't even know what I would give this because I feel like
Because the acting's great.
the acting is
and
great.
the writing's really good. And those are the
Mhm.
two pillars of this category.
Yeah. I think oh man, I'm so torn
Go higher.
because I don't know what I could really fault this movie.
Yeah.
You
You don't
know
have
what?
to go low. This is you, man.
I know, I'm not, but I don't even know what I am.
Yeah.
I don't know who I am right now because I can't figure out what I would
Are you
give
okay?
this
Do you ready
movie.
to call somebody?
Yes. I need Norm to wrap his loving husbandy arms around me and tell me we're doing okay.
Kiss me with your Arby's mouth.
Yeah,
Get
please.
Arby's all over me.
Please bring me some Arby's at work. Give me a little peck.
I will cover myself in your Mallard 3-cent
Yeah.
stamp.
You know what? 4.5.
Paint me like one of your Mallards, Norm. You're going 4.5?
I'm going 4.5.
All right,
I love
solid.
this movie so much. I love Norm so much.
You know what? Fuck it. I'm going 4.5 too.
Yeah, don't
I'm
be
sick of
scared.
this.
Don't be scared to
I'm
love
gushing
Kyle.
about this movie this whole fucking episode, and I'm out here giving it a 4. It's a 4.5. That's
That's that.
4.5, 4.5, 4.5, and then last category.
Oh, rewatchability.
5.
5. How is it anything else? I
Yeah.
want to watch it right now.
Right? Fuck. That's awesome.
Oh man, we fucking did it again, Kyle. Our scores are off. Goddamn 0.5.
Damn, what's yours? 19?
Mine's 19 and you're 18.5.
Fuck. That's awesome.
God, is it so deserved?
Yeah,
Oh
it's
man,
really good.
the fact that this did not win Best Picture has already set us up for calling this a
Oh,
snub.
yeah.
It's already
it's up for already.
It's making the argument.
This is the first one we've seen,
Oh,
but it's
But
really setting the
it's
bar
setting-
high for the nominees.
absolutely. Any other comments on your score or like general movie things?
No, I regret nothing.
Me
I regret
neither.
putting it lower to
Yeah.
start because I think I needed to watch it again and think about it a little bit more, let it marinate in my brain.
When
Yeah.
it can hold 2 watchings in a row, that's when you know it's real.
Yeah, and I didn't sour.
No,
I
not-
didn't even want to look at my phone. I
Yeah.
looked at my phone out of necessity because somebody was texting me like 4 times in a row. You know who you are.
I'm sorry, Kyle. I wanted to tell you how much I loved it already. It wasn't me. I don't know who it is. I'm not gonna.
No, we don't talk outside of podcasts.
We do-
this has been established. We only
I don't
speak for
have
your
your number.
content, listener.
We had to record a podcast episode to figure out timing for this week because I'm gone this
Yeah.
weekend again. Just kidding. All right, fun letterboxd reviews.
Oh, give me them. Give me them.
So this is a fantastic movie, and I knew it was gonna be. So I grabbed some high rankings.
Good. Okay.
Andrea, 4 stars. I wanted to give this a 3.5, but I just read somewhere that when Steve Buscemi calls up William H. Macy so they can finish the deal, he says, 30 minutes and we'll wrap this up. And fucking guess what? At that moment, there were exactly 30 minutes left before the movie ends. What the fuck kind of ridiculous attention to detail is that?
Shit.
I have no choice but to bump it to half a star now. The Coen brothers can call me right up at this moment and ask for $1 million, and I wouldn't even ask for context. I'll do it. Andrea was a fan.
That's a fun fact in a fun letterbox review.
I hid an extra fun fact in there too, because that is a fun fact.
This film is just juicy with fun facts. It's so good.
But I'm not done with this review
Okay,
yet.
all right, give it.
Annalise, 4 stars. When I say a cab, I hope everyone knows I don't mean Marge.
What? I'm confused. Wait, what?
Are you not familiar with ACAB?
No.
ACAB is an acronym for All Cops Are Bastards.
Oh,
So
okay,
it's
okay, sorry.
The context there is needed, but the listener, you get it.
Yeah, yeah.
They got it. They're like, oh, Annalise, 4 stars. You're a wily one. Okay, one more.
All right.
Jordangerous, 4 stars.
Great name.
What a cool accent. I
Oh,
wish
yeah?
it was real.
Oh, yeah?
And then a heart.
Oh.
I'm sure George Dangerous was writing a joke there, but man, people were on the reviews. People
That's
loved
fun.
it and gave it some creativity.
That's awesome.
You all get
Good job, guys.
I wish it was real hard.
Oh,
Great.
yeah. Awesome.
One more review. Kyle Tobiasson says, "Oh yeah."
Oh, yeah? Follow me on Letterboxd, guys. link in the bio.
Actually, I just came across that one randomly.
Really? Oh, that's funny.
I wasn't. I was just kind of looking through the star. I think you gave it a 4
Yeah.
on Letterboxd. So it was just in
I think I got a 4.5.
Oh, maybe it was a 4.5. I think it was a 4.5. I think you're right there. But yeah, I was looking through reviews. I saw yours just coincidentally. Like I wasn't logged into anything.
And then, I did it
Yeah.
last night. And so
It
I
was
was
probably one of the freshest.
Yeah, probably fresh and recent.
Award details.
Ooh, give me them juicy award details.
This received a lot of nominations, all of them deserved, for 7 nominations.
Woo!
Obviously, Best Picture. That's why we're here.
Yep.
Also, Best Director, Best Actress, Best Supporting Actor, Best Original Screenplay, Best Cinematography, Best Film Editing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, did you know the fun fact about that film editor?
No.
Okay. The film editor's name is like something random. I don't even remember.
I don't know what it is either.
I don't know what it is. But it's a pseudonym for both Coen brothers.
Really?
Yeah.
No way.
So he's edited, I'm pretty sure they edit most of their movies, but because they didn't want to be like those assholes that had their name literally draped over everything, writer, director, produced by whatever, everything.
They want to be Tommy Wiseau.
Yeah, so they made a pseudonym for their editing name.
That's
And so,
incredible.
when they were nominated for this award, they were still debating what they would do
Yeah.
if they won, because obviously it's not a real person.
Yeah.
It's the both of them. Yeah. So
Oh, that's really funny.
yeah.
Well, I didn't know that. I
Yeah.
learned a fun fact. I'm supposed to be bringing them. You've brought like
Shit.
6 already. It won 2 of these awards. Do you know which ones, Kyle?
McDormand and screenplay.
Yes.
Yes, nailed it.
Killed it. Other notable awards. These aren't awards. These are just really cool accolades that I wrote down for this one. It is one of 7 films ever to be selected for preservation in the National Film Registry in the first year it was eligible.
Wow.
So it was impressive really quickly.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah?
Oh, you betcha. Yeah.
Additionally, it made the list of 100 greatest American films in history until it was knocked out in 2007. It's going to happen.
Huh.
You keep
What
making
knocked it
movies.
out?
I don't know. It was probably a
2007?
couple things.
Maybe
It was probably
No Country.
it was probably knocked down a number of times, and then like the
Yeah.
last one to bump it was 2007. Like you can only be in 100 greatest for so long.
Wouldn't it be ironic if it was No Country that knocked it out?
They took out their own movie. I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah,
It's probably in there.
probably.
So now these are my interesting facts.
Okay.
Kyle.
Give it to me.
The actors used a book called How to Talk Minnesotan to help with their accents.
Wait, how do you
learn it from a book? I didn't get that.
Was every page just, oh yeah?
Oh yeah.
Then they flip the page.
sh-
Oh, you betcha, yeah.
Like, okay, wait, go back. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And then what comes next? Oh, you betcha.
Yeah.
Got it. Next lesson. Duolingo, check it off.
Yeah.
And then one more. This one is an interesting one.
Mm-hmm.
William H. Macy begged the directors for the role of Jerry Lundegaard. He did 2 readings for the part and became convinced that he was the best man for the role. When the Coens didn't get back to him, he flew to New York and said, "I'm very, very worried that you are going to screw this up by giving this role to somebody else. It's my role, and I'll shoot your dogs if you don't give it to me." The fun fact adds, he was joking, of course. We'll never know for sure. He was cast.
Whoa.
If they cast someone else, they might have been missing the dog after.
I can imagine like Jerry doing that in a way, but like it's very uncharacteristic for him to like go and like, you know, make that sort of claim. But like also I'm like, it's my role, gosh darn it.
Yeah.
I'm going to shoot your dogs.
You can see him backing that up with absolutely nothing and nothing but fear in his eye. But it's pretty fitting.
That's awesome.
So those are my interesting facts. Season ranking.
Ooh. Straight to the top, baby.
Straight to the top.
Number 1.
We will never disagree. But this one, like, how do you hate this?
Yeah.
This one's going to be a top for a long time. This is number 1.
Mm-hmm.
Everything finally gets shoved down. Independence Day has set a Snubs and Dug record for the most time spent at number 1.
Yeah.
Now it's number 2.
It is.
And good luck beating Fargo for a while.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to need a pretty strong contender.
It is. And this, you know, we got an interesting season. We got a lot ahead of us still on 20 more films. So there's a lot of opportunity for that to happen.
Opportunity for both Snubs and Dubs.
Oh, you don't say?
I do say.
Oh, you betcha.
Yeah. Well, I believe that brings us to the wrap up. Unless there's anything else that you would like to toss in on our love of Fargo.
Oh, yeah? That's it.
You don't say.
You don't say.
There's no much more to say.
Okay, well, I want to thank everyone for listening to episode 5 of season 1 of Snubs and Dubs. As always, you can find us everywhere on social media at Snubs and Dubs. So that's on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, everywhere. We're also on Good Pods, and you can join our official Discord. I would love to hear your guys' thoughts on these films and on this episode, so please send us a tweet or a message or wherever you want to contact us. Go ahead. We want to hear your questions, your recommendations, anything else. I'm also at Kyle Tobiasson on Twitter, and Jason is at Wendy_Mills on Twitter. Of course, all those links are going to be in the show notes below. Make sure to leave a 5-star review. I would really appreciate it. So would Jason. In fact, we have a 5-star review from SMC Cardi 84 that says, "Just found this podcast. So glad I did. If you like film, then this is a good podcast for you. The hosts discuss such interesting topics and leave me wanting to hear more. Check it out." Well, if you're listening this far, you have checked it out, and I thank you very much. But thank you for your 5-star review, Smacardi. Smacardi 84.
Suck McCarty.
Oh my God.
That's what they're going for. Sorry.
We don't want to scare them away. Come on. Keep them in. Thank you so much. If you had a 5-star review, we would read it at this part of the show. So if you leave one on this episode, maybe we'll read it next time. Who knows?
We'll get your name right too if you make it easy enough on us.
Make sure to check back next week for another episode. Here is a sneak peek of the film we're going to talk about.
Choose life. Choose a job. Choose a career. Choose a family. Choose a big television.
You're a quiet, sensitive type. A little bit crazy, a little bit bad.
That's right. Next episode, we are going to be talking about train spotting. And in fact, it is going to be the first episode this season that we are going to invite on a special guest. So stay tuned for that. I can't wait for you guys to hear it. Thanks for listening. That's a wrap.
Bye for now.
Oh, yeah?
Oh, yeah? You don't say?
Oh, you betcha, yeah.
Oh, yeah.